to the third and final main topic for this podcast episode, which is going to be mailbag. So, for those of you who don't know what mailbag is where I give you guys the opportunity to write in questions and have me answer them on the podcast episode so that we can promote some good conversation amongst each other and just have a ton of fun doing it. And this week's question is going to come from Lucy. Lucy, thank you so much for writing in and submitting the survey. It's an absolute honor to have you join in this conversation with me and all the other WOSO fans from around the world. And guys, if you would like to submit a question for the mailbag topic on this podcast, there is a link to a Google form down in the description below to where you can submit any question as long as it's applicable and appropriate. I will do my best to get it featured on the podcast and give you a good response. So, without further ado, Lucy writes this question: how do you see Mallory Pugh evolving in the coming years? And do you see her as a key member of this team, referring to the U.S. Women's National Team? So, thought about this a lot, and I thought about this at work today too. It was on my mind. I think Mallory Pugh's got a ton of potential. I mentioned that a little bit earlier. I think Mallory Pugh has a ton of potential still to grow, and I still think she has a ton of talent. It's really easy for her to kind of drift out of mind because she's been injured so often in the last few years, and I think she slipped the minds of a lot of fans, a lot of coaches, a lot of teams. But here's the thing: she's an extremely young talent. She's only 22. She's the same age as Emily Fox and Jaylene Howell, who are just coming out of school. And the only difference is Mallory Pugh has 4 years of professional experience and also 63 caps already under her belt with the U.S. Women's National Team. So she's made a lot of appearances. And she's come through the ranks and made a ton of noise throughout her young career already. She made a lot of noise with Jill Ellis's squad from 2016 all the way to the 2019 World Cup, where she featured in some games, scored some goals, had some assists, and performed on the world's biggest stage. Performing well at the world's biggest stage at such a young age, that shows a lot of poise, that shows a lot of promise. And just having that poise, that can take you very, very far in professional sports when you've got that it factor, that poise, that composure, that talent. All those combined makes for a world class striker or a world class player. I'm sorry. So, how do I see Mallory Pugh evolving in the coming years with all that in mind? I think Mallory Pugh is going to turn into a world class striker who isn't going to be one of the world's best, but she'll be world class if that makes sense. She'll be a key piece of the U.S. Women's National Team, but she won't be the piece if that makes sense. Mainly because I think the U.S. has done a good job of producing squads that are a ton of world class sums that make up a one of the world's best teams, and that's just kind of the cookie crumbles with that. But Mallory Pugh is going to be a force to be reckoned with for years to come. The only reason I don't think that she will be one of the world's best is because of her being injury prone. So it's no secret. In 2018, Mallory Pugh had a pretty significant injury. She's been injured for almost all of 2020. And with that injury proneness, what it's essentially doing is it's keeping her from being on the field. When you're not on the field, the reality is you're missing out on hundreds, if not thousands, of minutes to continue to improve on your game, learn from vets, learn from your own mistakes, and sharpening your skills, even on the training pitch too. And when you lose out on that time, it's like it slows down your growth. It slows down your growth by a lot. So I think it's going to take Mallory Pugh a little bit of time to get to that world class level because she will spend a lot of time, hopefully not spend a ton of time being hurt. But so far she's spent a ton of time being hurt, and it's limiting how fast she's growing, I think. But I just feel bad. I feel bad because it's no fault of her own, right? Like, you can't help being injury prone. That's just, I would chalk it up to just genetics. That's just kind of how it goes in any sport, really. There are just some injury prone players, and Mallory Pugh is one of them. But it doesn't take away from the talent that she's proven that she has and possesses. So I think she will reach her potential of being world class. I just think that with her having as many injuries as she's had, it'll limit that to her just being world class instead of being one of the world's best. That's being really cynical, of course. She could have no injuries after this year, which I hope is the case. I hope she never gets injured again, and she could become that one of the world's best forwards going into the latter parts of her career. So I'm hoping all the best for her, and I hope she does that. And it's all on the presumption that she can stay healthy, which um, you never know. I hope she can stay healthy, and I think she will. But um, another thing that kind of helps her case too, and helps kind of prove that she's still got a lot to contribute. She's really talented. Is I think a lot of teams still believe, if that makes sense. A lot of teams have believed and still believed in her talent and her buying in. The most evident circumstance I can think of is that the Chicago Red Stars trading for her, I think, is a big piece of that. So let me provide a little bit of context on this. The Chicago Red Stars have been going to the final or the semifinal in the NWSL every year for the last 6 years and have not won the title yet. So this year, with their trades, I think it's evident that they're really starting to try to get over that hump and really get to that to get to the championship and win it because they've gotten this close for the last however many years and just can't get over the hump. And their front line is lacking. I'd say it's the weakest part of their squad. And who do they look to improve it? Well, they go out and they get Mallory Pugh. Out of any player in the world they could try and go and get, they picked Mallory Pugh. Why? Because she's got so much talent, she's got so much upside, and she can provide a very good attacking threat for a lot of teams on that wing. And they see the talent. I believe in that talent myself. And they went out and they got her. And of course, the main thing you have to keep in mind is as long as she stays healthy, she will be a force for this team, for the Chicago Red Stars, and for the U.S. Women's National Team going forward. But she just has to stay healthy, is all. If she can do that, she will be a world class forward. She will be a world class player, and she will have a lot of great things to contribute to any team that she plays for. So bottom line here is that Mallory Pugh is still young. She's got a lot of potential and she's got a lot of talent. She will grow and evolve to be a world class forward, and she will be a key part for the U.S. Women's National Team and really any team going forward, provided that she continues to keep on the field and stay healthy. So um, those are pretty much my thoughts on that particular question. Lucy, thank you so much for saying that question. I really appreciate it. It was a really awesome question. And I look forward to more questions from the future from you and also anybody else who's interested and wants to submit a question for the podcast as well. So, from the bottom of my heart, guys, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. And with that down and out of the way, guys, that actually does it for the podcast. We have gone through all of our main topics, and I just wanted to say it was an honor and privilege to have all of you join me again on another podcast episode. We're 11 episodes in, going strong, and I hope you're having as much fun as I am. If you guys like what you're hearing and seeing, feel free to give this podcast a thumbs up or subscribe to the YouTube channel. Or if you want to tell all your friends about it, or you want to listen to it on audio, you want to follow us on TikTok and Instagram, all of that can be linked down in the description below whenever you feel like it. So, for those of you who are new, thank you so much for joining for the first time. For those of you who are returning, thanks for coming back. I greatly appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you in the next women's soccer/podcast episode. I've been Bryce, and we'll see you in the next episode. And as always, have a great day.